Hey everyone, welcome back my channel. Stoic vibes. When you reach 80, you discover something that you may never have stopped to think about in your youth. The idea of winning in life takes a completely different form. When we are young, we believe that success is linked to how much we achieve externally. Money, material, good status, but over time, I realized that true victory has nothing to do with it. The things that really make a difference are much simpler, but much harder to maintain as the years go by. What I'm going to tell you now can change the way you see your life, and perhaps how you see aging. When I think about it, I go back in time and remember so many people who over the years lost something very valuable. And I'm not talking about material things, I'm talking about something that sustains our vitality and joy of living. And if you lose that, your ability to move everything you've built throughout your life can feel empty. That something is your ability to move. It may seem obvious, but if you can keep your body active and functional at the age of 80, you are already ahead of a large part of the population. Believe me, the ability to walk without pain, to climb stairs, to get out of bed without help. These are small daily victories that many take for granted until one day the body no longer responds, and when that happens, you feel like your freedom has been taken away from you. I remember when I was 60 years old and I started to feel like my joints were a little stiffer at the time. I didn't think much of it after all. Who really wants to admit that they are getting older? But as time went on, I realized that if I didn't take care of my body, it would betray me. I started, take care of your body, walking daily, stretching and staying active, not because I wanted to lose weight or get in shape, but because I knew that if I didn't, my life would become limited at 80. I can still get up on my own, walk around my house, take care of my garden, and even take a few dance steps, and that, believe it or not, makes me feel victorious no matter how many zeros I have in my bank account or how many things I own. Freedom of movement is one of the greatest riches anyone can have, and that's what I want you to reflect on today. What are you doing now to make sure that when you reach 80, you can still move freely? Don't underestimate the power of movement. It's not just about physical health, it's about keeping the flame of independence and autonomy alive. If at the age of 80, you can still walk on your own life without depending on others for the simplest activities, you have already achieved something great. So move around, because the first secret to winning in life is simple. Don't stop moving ever now. Let's talk about something even more fascinating. Have you ever heard the expression, healthy mind, healthy body? Well, it makes more sense than you think. At the age of 80, I realized that in addition to keeping your body moving, another great secret to feeling like a winner is to keep your mind sharp. And I'm not just keep your mind sharp talking about avoiding diseases like Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia, but about preserving your ability to think, reason. And above all, remember, the mind is what connects us with the world around us. Without it, we lose ourselves. Imagine this: you wake up one day and can no longer remember how you got to where you are. Familiar faces become unknown. The stories you've lived through seem distant, fragmented, like a fading dream. This is what happens when we neglect our mental health. No matter how strong the body is, if the mind does not keep up with it, living becomes an arduous and lonely task. And at 80, if you can remember the names of your childhood friends, tell the stories of when you were young, laugh at old memories with your grandchildren, you are already a winner. Your mind, with all its accumulated knowledge and wisdom, is a treasure that few value often. The people around us don't realize how vast and full of memories our inner world is. But for this to remain alive and intact, it is necessary to take care of the mind with the same affection that we take care of the body. Typing your mind sharp isn't just a matter of health, it's a matter of living fully. An active mind keeps us curious, open to new experiences, and connected to the world. If at 80 you can do that, you've won one of life's most important battles. But listen to me. Well, this is not a battle that can be won all at once. It is necessary to take care of the mind every day. Challenge it, stimulate it, and you can start now. Read. Keep your mind curious, books that make you think, talk to people who inspire you. Play games that stimulate your thinking, because, believe me, reaching 80 with a clear and active mind is one of the biggest victories you can achieve. So if you're here today listening to me, know that there's still time. The secret is to keep your mind curious, open and ready to learn something new every day at the age of 80. You will see that this effort was worth it, because the real victory is to remain present in body and, above all, in mind. Now let's talk about the third and perhaps deepest secret to being a true winner in life at age 80. Human-human connections. Yes, I'm talking about the bonds we've built along our journey. When you get to my age, you realize that what really matters is not the things you've accumulated, but the people who are by your side. Believe me, loneliness is the greatest enemy of old age, and keeping these connections alive and meaningful is one of the greatest triumphs anyone can achieve. Reaching 80 years old and still keeping your body moving and mind is a victory in itself. But there is something that can make these two pillars even more challenging, something that many face without even realizing it: loneliness and isolation. And here's the truth that few speak openly about: loneliness is one of the biggest enemies of healthy aging. Lack of contact, emotional and social disconnection can slowly erode even the strongest person. Isolation, dear ones, can be subtle. It doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes you are even surrounded by people, but inside you feel that no one really sees or hears you. This can be devastating to the soul. And the worst part is that loneliness doesn't just affect the emotional, it destroys the body, mind, and ability to enjoy life. If you think you overcoming loneliness can age on your own, let me tell you, you're mistaken. We are made to share, to connect, to be seen and heard. And that's why overcoming isolation is the fourth and definitive secret to winning in life. One thing I've learned is that when you reach old age, the natural tendency is for your social network to shrink. Loved ones leave, children and grandchildren get busy with their own lives, and without realizing it, you start to drift away. I know this because I've been through it. I lost dear friends over the years, and I saw others distancing themselves due to sheer lack of time. It's easy to fall into the cycle of isolating yourself, thinking that no one cares anymore, or that your stories no longer have value. But here's a truth you need to internalize. There's always someone who cares, and there's always someone who needs your presence. The secret to overcoming loneliness is not just in waiting for people to come to you, it's about being proactive. If at 80, you can still open the door to a friend, a neighbor, or even someone you just met, you are already overcoming isolation. I know many who, as they get older, simply let go of the desire to connect with the world around them. They think it's not worth it anymore, that they're too old for new friendships, new loves, new conversations. But let me tell you, you're never too old for that. On my journey, I learned that staying open to new connections is one of the biggest secrets to living a full old age life. Doesn't end at 80. Believe me, there is still a lot to discover, share, and live. Staying open to new connections, you may be surprised by the opportunities that arise if you keep an open heart and mind. Sometimes the company of a new friend or an unexpected conversation can bring more happiness than any material wealth. And it's not just about having someone to talk to. It's about continuing to learn, about still being curious about other people's lives and stories. When you hold these bonds, you are telling the world and yourself that you are still here, that it still matters, and this is fundamental to overcome loneliness. I know it's not always easy. Sometimes we are afraid of rejection, afraid of not being accepted, or even embarrassed to ask for company. But that's the big trick: to put aside these fears and reach out, open up to the other. At the end of the day, what really defines us as winners is our ability to love and be loved, to share and receive. And if you at 80 can still look around and feel that you are not alone, that your connections are deep and meaningful, then you have conquered one of life's greatest challenges. I remember a friend who at the age of 85 told me something I have never. What matters most forgotten: the saddest thing that can happen to someone is to grow old with no one to hold their hand. And this is true when we reach the end of life. What matters most is not what we have achieved, but with whom we share those achievements. Those simple moments, like a sunset conversation or a quiet breakfast with someone you love, become the real treasure of old age. Many run after money, success, fame, and spend their entire lives believing that these are the great trophies that define a winner. But over the years, I've realized that few understand the true meaning of victory. Time teaches us most valuable lessons. And one of the most profound is that true wealth is not in the things we accumulate throughout life, but in the experiences, memories, and connections we cultivate at the end of the day. What we really carry with us to the end are not material possessions, but what is inside us and around us, these three things: the care of the body, the nourishment of the mind, and the value of human relationships are the true secret to a full and fulfilled life. The care of the body: by the time you reach your 80s, if your body is still responsive, your mind is still active, and you still have loved ones by your side, you've won in ways that many can't understand. It's not about how many zeros there are in your bank account or the size of your social prestige, but rather how you lived your days and who you shared them with. So take care of your body, because it is the vehicle that takes you through the journey of life. Feed your mind, because it is what keeps you curious, open to the new and connected with the present, and above all, value those who are by your side, because they are the ones who will give meaning to everything you have built. When you look back at 80, you'll see that these are the greatest trophies anyone can conquer: the body that still serves you, the mind that still sustains you, and the people who still love you. This, my dear listener, is the real keep your relationships alive victory in life. And my advice to you is keep your relationships alive. Take care of the people who matter to you. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and love. Don't let the busy life make you lose the deepest connections. And if today you feel lonely, don't be afraid to open your heart to new friendships, new loves, new conversations. Believe me, at 80 years old, this is what will give you strength and a deep sense of victory, because at the end of the day, true victory in life is sharing moments, experiences, and feelings with those we love. If at 80 you can still look around and find a helping hand, a shoulder to lean on, or even someone to share a simple smile with, you've already achieved what many spend their entire lives looking for. We've reached the end of this video, but before we say goodbye, I'll ask you a question. Have you ever stopped to think if you're on the right track to win these trophies at the age of 80? Does the success we seek so much throughout life really matter if we don't take care of the things that make the difference in the end? The body, mind, and connections we cultivate, they are the ones that ultimately define the true meaning of victory. Now I want to know from you, what are you doing today to ensure that victory in the future? Love your opinion in the comments, and tell me where you're talking about. I'd love to hear from you. And if this video made you reflect, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those special people you value in your life. After all, taking care of these three areas is something we all need. And before you go, don't miss the next video that will appear here on the screen. It will help you even more on this journey of personal growth with essential tips that can change the way you live life. So click on the link now and continue with me on this journey towards a full and fulfilled life. See you there.